Good morning and welcome once again to our devotions for today. It truly is a blessed day for us, and we trust that as we would have come through the wonderful hours of the night into this brand new day, that we may be ready for all that this day has to offer, because this is truly a beautiful day. Every day, every day that we experience in this world is a beautiful day. And so we give thanks today for God's many blessings, for bringing us through the night, for keeping us safe. We hold in our hearts all those who are afflicted in one way or another, remembering especially our friends, neighbors, loved ones who may be experiencing the pandemic, this virus at this point in time. As numbers continue to rise here in Barbados, we pray for persons' safety. We pray that persons may observe the various protocols and so thereby prevent this pandemic from getting out of hand here for us, which may cause all manner of steps to be taken that may not be in our best interests at this time. So we have much to be thankful for, but at the same time, there's much that might be weighing on our hearts and causing us to be concerned, be fearful, be even anxious. There are many things that may be happening in our lives. So we ask God to be present to us in this time as we come into a space of quiet, peace, realizing that there's power in the presence of God. There is true power in the presence of God. So I invite you now into this time of meditation. And peace. God is here. God is always with us. Emmanuel. God is present in every breath. God is God. And we are of God. We are created in that image of God. We're not orphans. We're not abandoned. Every moment of every day, God is working God's purpose out in our lives. God is nurturing, challenging, calling, inviting us to come up higher, to let go of the world that we know, to let go of what our eyes see, what our ears hear, to let go and realize that there is more. That while what we see and what we hear is of value, there is so much more. So much more. But to experience the more, we must first open our hearts. Open our hearts in love. And to do this, we must bring in the experience of the divine presence. We must breathe in that divine spirit. And allow it to fill our hearts. To ingest it. To allow our hearts to swell. That we may be present to the all that is, to the more. And in being present to the more, and that which is limited takes its place and is seen for what it is heard for what it is. And we realize it is only but a small piece of our reality, our great expansive reality. Because we realize that we are more than flesh. We are so much more than flesh. And so we deeply desire to expand, to experience, to know, to understand, to control, to use these greater energies and energy systems as may be beneficial and constructive to us and to those near us. And as we expand in our awareness, we ask for the help and cooperation, understanding of those entities, individuals whose wisdom, whose development, whose experience are equal to or greater than ours. Just as Jesus welcomed the assistance of Moses and Elijah, may we too seek the assistance of those who would guide us. Who will lead us beyond where we are. So we hold all this in our heart allowing our hearts to expand to contain it, to expand beyond ourselves, our physical self, to expand beyond the place where we are now, to expand beyond this island, this region, this world. And to realize the vastness of who we are. To allow ourselves to be aware, to be conscious of this vastness, this expanded self, and feel the beauty and the radiance and the peace, the peace that is said to pass all understanding. That peace. A peace that says all is well. All is well. Everything is well. Finding, knowing, nurturing this divine essence is our work. We ask the Almighty, the All-Powerful, to help us to understand and to know, to give us courage to daily endeavor to find the true self, that each may know who one is. Who am I? Be with us all this day and every day on this path of knowing. May we join with others who are journeying on a similar path. And together we may light with brilliance the way that is set before us, in order that this world may truly come to know and to become all that was intended. This is so important for us. And we pray that we may truly find our way. We continue our Matthew reading in chapter 7, verse 22 to 29. On that day, many will say to me, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, and cast out demons in your name, and do many deeds of power in your name, then I will declare to them, I never knew you. Go away. Go away from me, you evildoers. Everyone then who bears or hears these words of mine and acts on them will be like a wise man who built his house on a rock. The rain fell, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, but it did not fall because it had been founded on a rock. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not act on them will be like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain fell and the floods came and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell, and great was its fall. Now when Jesus had finished these things, the crowds were astonished at his teaching, for he taught them as one having authority and not as their scribes. Here ends the reading. So Jesus likens our willingness to listen, to hear, and to act to one building a house. One building a house on sand, one building a house on rock. Recognizing that The choice is ours, always. The word is there. Jesus gives us what he has discovered, what he has understood, what he has come to know. But the decision is always that of the individual. Each one of us has her or his work to do. And we must do it. We must decide what we will do. Jesus says that ones who do not heed the word are like those who would build their house on sand, and it would be open to the perils of nature. Ones who do hear his word would use his word like a foundation and build on that foundation. And so their house would be stable and able to withstand the perils of nature. It's a wonderful analogy for us, and it's one that I trust we will take to heart. The importance of using what we have received. Our world is one in which we get so much information. Unlike Jesus' day, there were probably few persons offering information. In our time, there is so much information, and sometimes we are overloaded with information. And what that overload tends to cause us to do is to click out, to blank out, to do nothing. And therein lies our distress. Because in doing nothing, we make ourselves vulnerable to all that is coming our way. So somehow we've got to be able to decide and choose what we are willing to receive and act on. Because to not act because there's too much is not an acceptable reason. We may think it is good enough, but it isn't. Because it leaves us standing on the sand. The thing is to be courageous, to choose a path, and to walk it. And to walk it with all of one's energy, one's enthusiasm, one's effort. Walk it. Because once we indicate our desire to act on the invitation to come up higher, the angels will come and minister to us. And the angels will help us to find the path that is ours. But to stay inactive and to complain about the excess of information leads us nowhere, because no help can come if we're not doing anything. We don't need any help because we're not doing anything. So, my friends, today I want to encourage you to step, do something, take an action. Don't simply sit there and bemoan the fact that there's too much to be done. Do something. Take a step forward and allow yourself to move. Because once you move, God truly does the rest. He just wants you to take that step. And when you take that step, God is there. God is so willing to receive his child and to allow his child to move from where he or she is into God's most wondrous kingdom. I pray, I really pray that you will be like those who build their house on solid rock, because you've heard some word and that word has led you into action. Because this is what we're here for, to act. To act. By the grace of God, to act. And not to stay still, but to move forward by grace and in grace. May you have that courage to do what is needful, that you will join in the movement of God's Spirit in this world.
As the prophet said it would be.